My cousin accused me at 22 of being a drug addict, so my uncle would kick me out of his house where I lived studying. I went back to my town and finished college on my own. 8 years later my cousin is in rehab and her mom called me asking how I put myself back together. My Aunt Maria Elena called me on a Tuesday afternoon while I was finishing my shift at the hospital and asked me, in the same voice she used to use to tell me to set the table when I lived in her house, to come visit her daughter at the rehab clinic to teach her how to put her life back together. I was taking off my cap in the locker room of the internal medicine floor. Before we get to the part where everything falls apart, if you enjoy watching strangers get what's coming to them, hit subscribe. We're all here for the same reason and it's okay to admit it. Okay, back to the story. I told her, Tia, who gave you my number? She told me, I got it from your grandma Lou's. I told her, Tia, I can't. She told me, Regina, Brenda can't put herself back together. She's been in the clinic a month. The doctor says she needs to see someone who's already come out of something hard. You're the only one I can think of. I told her, Tia, I'll call you tonight. I hung up. I sat on the locker room bench. I didn't call that night. I didn't call the next one either. Let me back up. My name is Regina, I'm 30 years old, I'm a floor nurse at the MAC hospital in downtown Aguascalientes. I live alone in a rented apartment in the Los Arboledas neighborhood. I work day shift, 12 hours 3 days a week, the other 4 I rest or help my boyfriend Mauricio in his dad's restaurant kitchen. I've been here 5 years. Before that I lived 6 in my hometown, Calvillo, with my grandma Luz. Before that I lived 4 in my uncle Joaquín's house, in Aguascalientes, in the Lomas de Casa Blanca neighborhood, while I studied. Before that I lived 17 years with my parents in Calvillo. My parents died on Highway 70 when I was 17. They were coming home from Aguascalientes, a pickup truck pushed them off the cliff before they got to Calvillo. They didn't make it to the hospital. I was in my last year of high school. My grandma Luz, my mom's mom, was the only close family I had left in Calvillo. She was 68, she lived alone, she had a leg with arthritis, and she sold embroidered cloths at the church portal. She didn't have enough to support a granddaughter through high school. My uncle Joaquín, my dad's brother, offered me his house in Aguascalientes to finish high school and start college. He had a wife, Maria Elena, and a daughter my same age, my cousin Brenda. Brenda and I had birthdays 3 weeks apart, we had grown up seeing each other every Christmas and every Easter, her in the city, me in the town. I went to live with them when I was 18. I brought a suitcase and 2 boxes. They gave me the room that used to be the guest room, with an old queen bed and a small closet. Brenda had her room across the hall, bigger, with a vanity and her own bathroom. Tia Joaquín was an accountant at a transport company. Tia Maria Elena was a homemaker, she organized lunches with her friends from the Catholic Ladies Club. I started studying nursing at the UAA. Brenda started studying marketing at Universidad Boniterra. The first 3 years were normal. I helped around the house, I did the grocery shopping on Saturdays, I washed the dishes after dinner, I helped Tia Maria Elena with the Sunday meals. Brenda didn't help. Brenda went out. Brenda went out with her friends. Brenda had permission to come back at 2 in the morning, I had until 1. Tia Maria Elena treated me well, without affection but without abuse. She gave me money for the bus and for photocopies. She'd ask me about school. She'd let me study at the dining table when I needed to. Tia Joaquín was barely home. He worked a lot, came home at 9, ate dinner, watched the news, went to sleep. When I was 21 I started dating Mauricio. Mauricio was the son of the owner of a restaurant in the Centro and he was studying business administration at the Tech. I met him in the UAA cafeteria, because his ex-girlfriend had studied there and he had gone one day to pick her up. We started dating slowly. 6 months in we were official. I introduced him to the family one Saturday at lunch. Mauricio got along with Tia Joaquín and Tia Maria Elena. He got along with everyone, except Brenda. Brenda hadn't had a boyfriend in 2 years. She'd had one in her first year, a guy from Boniterra who left her for someone else. From that day she had this thing, any friend of hers who got a boyfriend, she stopped talking to them within weeks. Any cousin who got married, she didn't go to the wedding. Any neighbor who got engaged, she'd badmouth them behind their back. I hadn't given it any importance because I wasn't her friend or her cousin or her neighbor, I was family that lived in her house and she was the same as always with me. Until Mauricio came along. 2 weeks after I introduced her to Mauricio, Brenda started. Regina, doesn't it seem to you like that guy is more into me than into you? Every time he comes over he stays talking to me in the living room while you do something in the kitchen. I'd answer, Brenda, he's not into us. He's polite. She'd tell me, I'm telling you nicely. Watch out. The next week another thing. Mauricio said at Friday's dinner that he prefers brunettes. I'm darker than you, right? And another. Mauricio laughed a lot at my joke on Saturday, did you notice? I didn't answer her. Mauricio told me later that Brenda had looked for him at the UAA on a Tuesday to ask him what he saw in Regina. Mauricio had told her, I see everything. Brenda never forgave him for that. 3 months later, on a Tuesday night, I came home from school and Tio Joaquín was sitting at the dining table with a baggie of marijuana in front of him. Tia Maria Elena was standing next to him with her arms crossed. Brenda was at the entrance of the dining room with an, I have nothing to do with this, face. Tio Joaquín told me, Regina, Brenda found this in your drawer while she was looking for a sweater. I want you to tell me what this is. I told him, Tio, that's not mine. He told me, Regina, it's your drawer. Whose is it going to be? I told him, Tio, I don't smoke. I never have. I don't drink. You know me. Brenda said, Tio, I found it. You decide. Tio Joaquín told me, Regina, in my house we don't bring drugs. You have to leave. I told him, Tio, I swear on my mom's grave that's not mine. He didn't believe me. That night they let me pack my stuff. I left at 11 with the same suitcase and the 2 boxes I had arrived with 4 years earlier. When I was going down the stairs with the suitcase, Brenda was standing in the doorway of her room. She saw me. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. I went to a 3-star hotel on Avenida Aguascalientes. It cost me 400 pesos. I called my grandma Luz at 11 at night. I told her. My grandma told me, Mija, you take the 6 a.m. bus and come here. I took the bus at 6. I got to Calvillo at 8. My grandma was waiting for me at the central bus station with a thermos of coffee. That was my last night in Tio Joaquín's house. Calvillo was hard. My grandma had her widow's pension and the embroidered cloths. I had a semester left to finish my degree. I called the nursing coordinator at the UAA and explained. She told me, Regina, you can finish at distance, with in-person tutoring once a month. You'll take an extra year, but you can do it. I graduated a year and a half after my class. I worked as a waitress at a taqueria in downtown Calvillo during those 18 months. I also sold embroidered cloths with my grandma on Sundays at the church portal. Mauricio went to Calvillo every 2 weeks in his car. He stayed at the little hotel at the entrance of the town. I never let him stay at my grandma's house because my grandma was old school. When I graduated, I looked for hospital work. The MAC hospital downtown called me. I came back to Aguascalientes. I rented a small apartment in Los Arboledas. Mauricio moved in with me 2 years later, when he was already working with his dad at the restaurant. I never spoke to my uncle Joaquín or my cousin Brenda again. My Aunt Maria Elena would call me twice a year, on my birthday and at Christmas. I'd answer briefly, thank her, hang up. I never asked about Brenda. They never apologized. When I turned 32 months ago, I learned through my grandma Luz, who heard from a neighbor in Aguascalientes who was a distant aunt of my uncle Joaquín's, that Brenda had been having problems with amphetamines for 2 years. That she had lost 3 jobs. That she had run off with a guy to Zacatecas and came back 6 months later with her face sunken in. That Tia Maria Elena had checked her into a private clinic in Jesus Maria because Tio Joaquín couldn't take it anymore. My grandma told me, Mija, it's not your problem. Don't even ask. I didn't ask. Until the Tuesday afternoon when my aunt called me at the hospital asking me to go see Brenda. I didn't call that night. I didn't call the next one. My aunt called me on Friday. I answered her in the car coming out of the hospital. This time I heard her out. She told me, Regina, I don't know who else to ask. You're the only person in the family who's been through something hard and made it out. Brenda is broken. The doctor said she needs to hear someone who understands what she feels. I told her, Tia, let me ask you something. Do you remember what happened the night your husband kicked me out of your house? She told me, Regina, Hija, you were both kids. Brenda wasn't thinking straight. I told her, Tia, Brenda was 22. Same age as me. Brenda put that baggie in my drawer on purpose so your husband would kick me out. You didn't defend me that night. My uncle didn't believe me. Brenda didn't say anything. 8 years later you call me to help Brenda put herself back together. My aunt said, Regina, don't do this to me. I told her, Tia, I put myself back together alone because you guys forced me to. Brenda has to do the same. If you want to talk, you and me, come to my apartment. I'm not going to go see Brenda. It took me 8 years to stop crying about that night. My aunt didn't say anything for several seconds. I told her, Tia, I love you. I feel for you. But I can't. I hung up. I parked in front of an OXXO. I sat in the passenger seat with my hands on my knees. I cried for 15 minutes. I cried like I had cried the first weeks in Calvillo at 22. Then I dried my eyes. I called Mauricio. I told him I'm coming home. Should I pick up something? He told me I already made dinner. I told him I love you. He told me too. 2 months have passed. My aunt hasn't called again. My grandma told me last week on the phone that Brenda left the clinic and is living with Tia Maria Elena. My uncle Joaquín went to live with his mom in a town near Lagos. They split up. Brenda can't find work. Tia Maria Elena sold half of the house to pay for the clinic. The other half they're going to sell soon, according to the neighbors. I'm still at Mac. I've been shift supervisor for 3 months. Mauricio and I are thinking about getting married in February. My grandma Luz is 78 and is going to come to the apartment for a month when I get married. I'm going to pick her up myself in the car and bring her slowly because the arthritis leg hurts on speed bumps. Sometimes, when I get to the apartment at night, I sit on the couch without turning the light on for a few minutes. I don't think about my cousin. I don't think about my uncle. I think about my grandma Luz, who opened the door of her little adobe house at 8 in the morning 8 years ago with a thermos of coffee for a niece who came with 2 boxes and a suitcase and nothing else. That grandma put me back together. As for Brenda, she has to find her own.